forget the canned versus homemade debate. Cranberry sauce has been embroiled in scandals from antitrust laws, labor issues, and massive food recalls. Cranberries are notoriously picky plants, growing only in a few select regions in the country, and always in bogs. Those bogs were originally public spaces, part of the food systems of the Wampanoag, Algonquin, and Narragansett peoples, until rising demand for cranberries in the 1800s led to large-scale privatization. Commercial cultivation expanded pretty quickly once people figured out how to cultivate the cranberry plants, and harvesting was a really labor-intensive job. At first, growers relied on family and their community to do this work, but as the industry grew, they turned to immigrant labor. Entire families, including children as young as 5, would handpick the berries from September to October. Then came Marcus Uran, a Boston lawyer who walked away from his career to buy a cranberry bog. He realized that the biggest problems with the fruit, limited growing region, and very short harvest season were actually opportunities. If cranberries could be processed, they could be sold year-round. So in 1912, he created the first canned cranberry sauce. In the 1930s, growers developed wet harvesting. This cut the labor down from hundreds of handpickers to just a few, but it also bruised more fruit. And now there was a massive surplus of berries in a very small harvest window. So the industry boomed. And so did the competition. Uran wanted to control pricing, marketing, and production, but he kept bumping up against these pesky little things called federal antitrust laws. He convinced 2 of his major competitors to join together and create a co-op so that they could legally set prices and control supply without being considered a monopoly. That cooperative eventually became Ocean Spray, which today accounts for roughly 70% of the U.S. cranberry production. By 1941, Ocean Spray had copyrighted its signature jellied cranberry sauce, and it was marketed as a ready-to-serve Thanksgiving staple. Then came the Great Cranberry Scare of 1959. Just a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, President Eisenhower, Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare, held a press conference about how some cranberries coming out of the Pacific Northwest were contaminated with a weed killer that caused cancer in lab rats. This news set off a nationwide panic. And then the politicians jumped in. Campaigning in Wisconsin, a major cranberry growing state, Vice President Richard Nixon ate 4 helpings of cranberries at dinner. That same night, John F. Kennedy, also campaigning in Wisconsin, drank 2 glasses of cranberry juice. The Washington Post dubbed it bipartisan cranberry consumption. Economically, the impact was catastrophic. Fresh cranberry sales dropped by 60%, and canned sales collapsed by over 70%. Ocean Spray ended up laying off a third of their employees over the course of a couple weeks. Culturally, the impact was even bigger. It turned cranberry sauce not into a symbol just for Thanksgiving, but of the messy political relationship between public safety, government intervention, food and agricultural corporations, and trust.